It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. It's so intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable.
Hello, hello, and hello, and welcome to his
and her perspective.
Here at his and her perspective, we find common ground to harmonize relationships. And we do that by having conversations like we're going to have today. Today, we're going to talk about bad breakups. Why is it so hard to let go? That is probably a question that so many people are asking, and we're going to help you with that today. So, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm well, dear sister. How are you?
I am absolutely phenomenal. You're looking good over there in your jean shirt.
Man, I was just going to say to you, you got the fly denim popping, and I just so happen to throw some on. How does this keep conspire? The universe conspires in our favor every week.
They do it every single week. I just think that it's amazing. We're favorites, right? We are favorites.
Obviously.
Hi, Desi. How are you doing today? Your lovely wife is watching with us.
Lovely better half, other half, better half. I don't know. Are you my better half or my other half? I don't know.
She your better half. We have to, absolutely.
I got a little bit of wretchedness left in me, and she ain't got none. So
right. Listen, y'all, if you're watching us right now, make sure that you are doing something. And we would like you to share, subscribe, and to say something. Because why? Because sharing is caring. If you're watching us, also say hello so that we can say hello back. Let us know who you are so that we can see where you're tapping in from as well. And don't forget to like both of our pages at Vaun the Love Alchemist over at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You're on Twitter, brother?
I am, but my presence on there is pretty.
Yeah, mine's is pretty sad. I think I got like 14 followers on Twitter.
You got me beat.
If you watch my go like the Facebook page, you'll be a part of the 10,000. Okay, I feel a little special over there. Facebook likes me a little bit, and check me out over at Coach Michelamonè on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then check out our YouTube page over at the His and Her Perspective show over at YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, hit that red bell so that you can get any of our upcoming shows that we're going to have there, as well as make sure that you like some of our videos and comment on them as well so that we can see what you like over there and see what we're doing. Hey there, Asia. How are you today?
What's up, Asia?
What's up, Yardley? How you doing?
What up?
He is at the bakery. We know what the bakery is now, right? We know he's working.
Oh, making the donuts.
He's making the donuts. We thought that he was actually holding out on us.
Yeah. I slept on that. Brother James Gifford was good, family. Salute.
Good. Hello, James. How are you? Asia is over from Chicago. Thank you so much for joining us. Man, so I've had a really good week. How's your week been, brother?
Pretty good. I'm still in the search for another car. I'm still, this is the third week of my car totaling experience. So all things considered, though, I'm in a decent rental.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, we are so glad that you are still here with us, and that was not was a sweat off your brow, and was not anything fatal with the little girl who thought that she was just supposed to keep going with a red light.
Yeah, it could happen to anybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Anybody could think that they're supposed to keep going at a red light. So.
Go figure, right?
How was your week?
My week was really good. I have been very productive. So, doing some things, a lot of clients and serving some folk and getting some things done. So it was really good, really good. I actually have a family member. Well, my spiritual sister's father-in-law just passed. So you all keep them in your prayers. So that's a little heavy on me a little bit, but God has a plan And he's a man of God, so I know that he's in the right place.
Gonna be all right.
Absolutely. If you guys have a question, make sure that you ask us that question. If you're not able to show up at the show and you want us to answer the question that is asked, that you ask, make sure that you do that at 304-60 ask us. That's 304-60 ask us, and we'll get to that question for on the show, and you can look at it during the replay. So let's move into today. So you have a couple today?
I do not have a couple today. Man, look, like I told you before the show, it slipped my mind into this very moment. I've been scrambling, and sorry, family, I don't have a couple for y'all this week. I have a bunch of them lined up, but I didn't get one, the picture and the bio to Coach Michelle. So I dropped the ball, family. So my apologies.
We will forgive you this week because we understand that you've been moving around a bit. It's okay. Things happen, even to the best of us.
Even to the best of us. Thank you.
I love it. Well, I don't have nothing for any news either, so don't worry about it. But listen,
we're just gonna roll right on into it then.
We're gonna roll right into this topic. Listen, this is the one thing I wanted to start out with. They really say, that there is a difference between how men and women handle a breakup. And one of the things that they said is that it takes longer for a man to get over a breakup. What are your thoughts on that?
Blah, blah, blah. Look, I think when it's all said and done, it comes down to the individual, and some people love harder than others.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think, I think that transcends gender lines.
Okay.
So I'm the type of person that I love. It's very easy for me to love, but I'm very black and white.
Okay.
And so it's, if I compare myself to most people, you would probably consider me the type that it's relatively easy for me to let go.
Okay.
I love very easy, but I let go pretty easy too. So, and I don't think that's just because I'm a man. I know there are some women out there who are, even more cut and dry.
Cut and dry, just gone, like you out of here, bye. So, okay, so what is the difference between letting go and getting over it?
I think, man, am I on the hot seat? Anyway, I think it comes down to one's individual level of emotional health.
Okay.
And also, there are some unresolved traumas that people have in their lives. There are all kinds of issues. There are abandonment issues. You could run the gamut on the different emotional hangups, mental hangups, psychological hangups, different mental health issues that a lot of people have. So again, I don't think it has anything to do with gender. I think, that's it. I think in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that, and I think that that if you are mentally healthy, a person that has been doing some self-care throughout the entire relationship, and you have not relied upon this person to be your all to everything, then it's going to be healthier or easier for you to do so, to let go, so that it won't be something that you're holding on to and can't really, like, oh my God. They say that it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to start to recover, but research says at least 3 months to regain yourself, to experience your growth, and to put yourself back together. What are your thoughts on that, family and brother?
And yeah, family, what y'all think about that? Yardley says, yes, because many of us believe in the fantasy of the Disney brand of romance, unresolved issues that many men and women have that get triggered. No one-nightitis? Is that it?
One-nightitis, I guess so. Yeah, or like there's nobody becoming. I don't know. What do you mean by that, Yardley?
He always drops a new vocabulary.
He always messing with us. Hey, Shalon, how are you doing today?
What's good?
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so I think that I really think that it depends on the person, because I've seen people take longer than that. And again, I think it has to do with how much self-care you're doing. Because when you've made that person your all, everything that you do, all your friends come with them, everything that you do outside comes with them, every part of your life is a part of this person, it's going to be more difficult for you to let go and to regain yourself, as they are saying.
So what about this issue of closure? Some people don't get the closure that they're looking for. And I've seen scenarios where years later, people can see a high school crush, a high school sweetheart, not crush, but a high school sweetheart. And 20 years later, you go to the 10-year or 20-year class reunion, and those feelings come back up because maybe the relationship ended in a way that didn't give you closure. What about that?
That is tough. And I have something that many people may not feel. I think you have to give yourself closure. You shouldn't rely upon another person to close something for you. Because when you do that, you're giving them too much power, and you may not ever get it, because men don't do closure. They just don't. Y'all do not sit there and go, well, you know what? Let's talk and let's get this whole closed up, sew this whole thing up together, and then we'll be done. That's not how that goes.
See, you and this whole men do this and women do that.
It's the truth.
I don't know about that. Men don't do closure. Explain that to me. I'm not clear on what you mean by that.
Because when men, okay, I'll say it this way. When a man has decided to leave, he is going to process that thing. So let's just say a relationship that's been together for 6 months, for a year, and he's decided 6 months in, he don't want her. He might stay 6 more months and then leave, but he left mentally in the 6th month. He just hasn't moved his body, depending on the circumstances. Now, if they are tied together, they're living together, those types of things, then that's why he's going to take that process. But if they're separate, he thought about it before he actually left. So he doesn't need that closure, that part of that. So when that woman catches up to the whole situation where it's now the year, and she's thinking, how could you just walk away? How could you just leave us? Just right there. The thing is, he left you 6 months ago.
Now, see, that's what a lot of men say about women. That, and again, I guess this is why I say it, because I hear so much of this going, from both sides, and I think it ends up being more of a human thing than a gender thing. And I've seen so many scenarios where the woman emotionally checks out. She's just not physically able to leave yet for a myriad of reasons. So maybe it's because her finances aren't straight, or she's not able to financially sustain herself. And so she stays until she's able to, or until she has another out. But I do think that I don't think that belongs to either gender. Go ahead. What you laughing at?
See, I'm laughing at Yarley. He said, men do closure. Sorry, coach, and flag on the play.
See, that's what I'm saying.
He said, you are describing women. No, let me say this. See, unless you are just a cold-hearted woman, women don't leave just to be leaving. No, you didn't. I don't know when. Well, let me take that back, because I flagged myself on that one, because somebody just came to mind. I take that back.
And it ain't so much that you leaving just to be leaving. You might have your own reasons, whatever they may be. But the point though,
I take that back.
Yeah, going back.
Ayana says, "Amen. Give yourself closure. The breakup was the closure." Absolutely. Okay. So I still think that men process things differently than women.
Okay, explain.
So because you all have you think of the situation.
We're smarter, but aside from that,
whatever. Y'all think y'all think of the situation, you're thinking of how to resolve it. And before you say something, or before it comes out of your mouth, out of your body, you've already resolved it. So by the time you actually do something about it, you have already figured out what you were going to do, how you're going to do it, and you haven't had the discussion. Women, on the other hand, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk it through, the entire situation through, until we get, and we can be saying something like, you know what, don't keep doing that. I'm about to leave. No, don't do that no more. I'm about to leave. Don't do that. We're doing that. Y'all looking like, she don't, in your mind, she don't know I'm a mess. She keep doing that. I'm gonna leave. She keep doing that. Men are not verbalizing that. Sometimes they will, but typically not. So that's why I'm thinking in his head, he's processing what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna get up out of here, how I'm gonna leave her with the kids, or how I'm gonna leave her with these bills, or how I'm gonna leave, whatever the case may be. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna leave her with some money? Am I gonna help her pay her bills? He's processing that in his head. He's not having that conversation.
I don't know about that one. I might have to chew on that one for a while.
So Ayana says, yeah, it depends on the situation and couple. Women leave the relationship. What? Typo, emotionally before. Okay, yeah. So women leave the relationship emotionally before physically.
See, now again, these are cliches, because everybody leaves the relationship emotionally before they leave physically.
That's true. But a man will. But a man.
Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that, because some people's heart might still be in the relationship, but they know that they need to leave. So some people do physically check out before they emotionally check out, but I think those are extenuating circumstances, like maybe abuse or, you know, some things that are detrimental that might be going on. But I think generally speaking, though, people stop, their level of concern starts to wane. So I think for the most part, people leave, men too, leave emotionally before we leave physically. We get to a point where we say, I care here. This is how much I care. And then this is how much I care. Now I'm caring less and less. And then ultimately we leave. So I'm saying that's a way of expressing leaving emotionally before we ever leave physically. I think that's the same for men too.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that.
These cliches gonna get y'all in trouble, ladies. I'm telling you.
Whatever, man. Y'all be living on them cliches too.
Look, men are people too.
Whatever. I guess so. I guess we can call you human instead of, aliens from Mars. Kevin says, I need help to leave my wife. She cheated on me 6 times and I was with her for 27 years.
No, man, there's a lot of miles left on that relationship, man. Stay in there.
Stay right there.
Yeah, no, Kevin, he being sarcastic. He's a nut.
I know.
He don't mean it.
He over here want to play with us too. Where we at? A woman never leaves a relationship without an exit plan. She will leave emotionally before she will leave sexually. It's called monkey branching. What is that?
Monkey branching.
What is a monkey branching? Hello?
I'm gonna file that one. I like that.
You like that? Well, tell us what it is, sir.
No, I'm gonna let him explain. It's his term. I think I know what he means, but I'm going to.
He always come up with some terms about us women. Where's some terms at Yarly about the men? How's that? Hey, ladies, come up with some terms. From conversations and witnessing, men want to leave, but men are logical. Her phone acting. I'm gonna go back to men are logical. He made peace leaving her. Coach M 15-yard penalty. Why I'm getting penalized today? Dang, Yarly.
That's because you playing them games, them gender games.
Or something. What is going on? Hello, this is Joanne from California. Hello, Joanne from California. Positivity is a superpower. I love that. Your wife is over there cracking up. Listen. I want to know what the heck is a monkey branching. When we gonna know what the monkey branching is, Yardley?
I think I know what it is.
People 15-yard penalties.
I think I know what it is, but I would rather he explain since it's his turn. But I like it. I think I like it. Let me say it that way. I might not like it.
You might not like it after you done caught on to a monkey leaving. So okay, so now I want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If it's in the context of like what he said, women never leave without an exit plan. So that means she's not going to leave one branch until she has another one in hand. So if she's leaving one man, she already has another man that she's.
We don't do that. Y'all are the ones that get under somebody to get over somebody.
See, again, I think this is a people thing.
No, because men don't do self-reflecting. We got to go get ourselves together. Y'all don't do that.
What are you talking about?
Tell me, what man do you know that had to go get himself together before he got with another woman?
Oh, well, not necessarily in the context of dealing with another woman, but I do. Man, self-reflection is I do that regularly.
Well, no, we don't talk about that. You're a coach.
Facts.
Right. You're a unicorn, man. Men don't do that. Men, they figure, oh, I left her. Let me go find somebody else to get up under.
Hold on now, because
now I will say this: if the woman left, she do got some security somewhere else.
Come on, man, be honest. Look, this is the part. This is the part that men. Okay, Yarley says absolutely correct. Vaun, touchdown, my man. So this is the part, like you just finally did all of this circular conversation to get to the point where you said, well, you know what? Maybe you're right. And I'm saying this whole honesty thing, just being honest with what it is, I think women have a harder time arriving. Generally speaking, women have a more indirect path toward landing at this place of honest self-reflection, honesty about what the situation is. Men tend to have a more linear or more direct path toward the same. I got a comment here. James Gifford says, I believe both sides go through closure. We may call it something different, but both sides go through a process of healing. Facts.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So your wife, she went and found unhealthy flirting and evil dating techniques that happen when people consider other new relationships is what monkey branching is. See, thank you very much, Desi.
She is smart. She is kind.
She is kind. She is important. Yes, and beautiful at the same time. So listen, that's why we ain't doing monkey branches, because we ain't eviling.
But you had just said earlier what you had just said earlier.
Because we do. Well, we was probably sitting there. We like.
hey, you know, Eve is short for evil.
Oh, that is wrong. That's terrible. That's really bad. Women do not like being truthful when they are being held accountable. Oh, that is terrible, y'all. You see, I got my high-pitched voice on. That is terrible. Listen.
Ayana said, come on, coach. Women definitely do monkey branching. I've done it in my done it in my past. See, so what we're having here is a failure to communicate.
We are not effectively communicating. Okay, fine. I'm conveying to you.
That's a very kind way of saying lying.
Dang, I'm not lying, y'all. Well, I have not done that.
And maybe you're not doing it purposely. But again, this is that dance toward the truth rather than the straight path to the truth. You see? So you know what I'm saying? You on all that on your way to the truth.
All the way to the truth. Fine. Okay, fine. I was trying to help the ladies out, and then Ayana gonna call me out. Fine. Yarley says, as you see, Vaun, circular logic.
Yeah. And see, this is why we need each other, family.
We do need each other.
Why men and women, because everything is not so linear. Everything is not meant to be just black and white.
Right.
You know, and so the value, one aspect of value that women add to the lives of men is that it keeps us from being so linear, so void of the what if part of things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can't always dance, damn it. Sometimes you need to get right to it, you know, and so we balance each other. But
some people don't like directness. And they can't handle that. It's kind of like you can't handle the truth kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the reasons that we kind of get that, right?
Yarley just gave me a 2-point conversion. Thank you, sir. So how many touchdowns? Coach Michela is down.
I'm down. I got a penalty, 15 yards.
I done got touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. Y'all, ladies, y'all are not representing very well.
And then y'all not backing me up, Ayana. Listen, here's some reasons that they say that it's hard for people to actually get over the breakup. You're rehearsing the breakup. You're lacking the forgiveness. Too many memorable things are in your environment. Constantly talking about this person, and you feel like that they were the one or the only one. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those things are valid. I think all of those things are valid. And I mean, and you could go on and on. I mean, the list is long. What about soul ties?
Now that is something that people do not think about, because
What do you
most
think
people
about
ain't walking around cutting off soul ties when they break up, unless they real spiritual.
What do y'all think about that, family? Soul ties. Do you think soul ties contributes to people's difficulty with letting go of a breakup? James Gifford says, the woman I was with prior to meeting my wife, I had already left the relationship mentally before I left physically. So there was no closure needed. I moved on. See?
But
And so
ask him, did she need closure?
there you go, James. Did she need closure? So, and chances are the person who gets blindsided by the end is the one who's left needing closure.
Right.
So,
Right.
so oftentimes, who leaves relationships more, men or women?
They say, according to a study I read, that women leave more than men.
Especially in the Black community, right? They say that 80% of divorces are filed by women.
By women, yep.
So men are the ones, if what we're saying here, if our assessment is accurate, right, then men are the ones needing more closure, or more often than more in most scenarios, men are the ones needing closure more than women.
But they're not asking for it.
How you know?
Do you think that men are asking? Because y'all think I'm over here lying. Let me just ask questions. I ain't gonna listen. Do you think? Do you think that the men are asking for it? Because I don't see men asking for it.
But here's the thing: just you'll find oftentimes, especially with men, we don't typically ask for help, but that doesn't mean that we don't need help.
That's true. Yardley says, if you can't handle the truth, you're living a life of lies. And Desi says, well, say, hyena howl. That's when they check out emotionally because they've already been talking to or howling at another woman.
Oh, my wife jumping on the side of the women. All right.
And then she said, she y'all just kidding. No,
Okay.
Stay with my side.
Right.
Stay on my side. Stay on my side right now. You ain't gotta worry about him till we end the show.
I was about to put up my avatar and go talk to her up close. Don't be.
Ain't no whatever. Ayana says, when I'm done in that regard. Yeah. But this, okay, let's talk about that. Because sometimes being done, people think they're done, and that goes to the whole thing rehearsing the breakup. When people are done, are they done? Meaning that they don't talk about it, they move on to somebody else, or they're done and they have to get themselves together. What does done mean?
Now, see, look, in this society, in the American society, American culture, Black people have been through so much. Like
right.
I think we suffer an inordinate amount of resentment, whether it's toward us or toward society at large, disappointment, frustrations, etc. Right? So these things, we tend to have the highest incidence of dealing with things in an unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
So even when we're done, we don't necessarily end things in the healthiest way.
Right.
So I don't know.
But what is unhealthy? What is ending it unhealthy?
Well, I think, okay, so let's just say we're married, or let's just say there's a married couple, and then one goes to work one day and he or she comes home from work and find that the other person has just moved out.
Is that unhealthy? Oh, my bad. You see? Oh, Lord. I guess I done did that a couple of times.
But see now, but again, now the relationship, in order for somebody to leave in that way, it means that the relationship is probably unhealthy too.
Very toxic.
Yeah, the relationship
Yeah.
is probably already toxic, and they don't want to deal with whatever, in whatever the conflict that might be. Maybe it gets verbally abusive, maybe even physically abusive. So the person might leave while the other person is away.
Or
But
the person might be trying to convince you not to leave, and then you end up you knowing that you're going to stay if they ask you to stay, and you know that it's still toxic.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So here's some things that I wanted to think about. Like, a lot of times people are in denial that it's even a breakup. Like I've had a client before that was trying to get me to help him get the girl back. But when I was able to talk to both of them, she's like, "We've been broke up for 6 months."
Mm.
And he's steady trying to get her back. And I'm like, "Well, I thought that you all did. Has it really been 6 months?" He's like, "Yeah, it's been 6 months." I'm like, because the way he talked about it was saying like it just happened, and that they could just have a conversation, but they were like broken up, moved out kind of thing.
What she put on that boy?
Man, I don't know, but he
Sound
was
like she put some roots on that boy. Or
some
something.
roots, some voodoo magic.
My God. All
So
right,
what do you think about people when they're in denial and they're having a whole relationship in their head?
Yeah, and again, I say that this is an expression of poor mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, you will never, I don't care where you go, how far you travel on this planet, you will never meet a man who loves his wife more than I love mine. But the day she shows up to me and tells me that she wants to go, she has my blessing. And as a matter of fact, I'll even help her.
So is that helping her because you are like, well, fine, you don't want to be here, go?
No,
Or
it's
is that
not.
helping her as in
It's not going to be that kind of energy. You
okay.
see, it's a matter of I don't need no hostages.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not holding her captive against her will. I love her enough to allow her to pursue her best idea of what it means to make herself happy, even if that idea doesn't include me.
Oh, that's some beautiful love.
See, and so, is it gonna hurt like hell? Yeah, because I thought we was cool. You see,
Right.
to the studio with her Dave Banner knapsack on her shoulder, like I'm out, bro.
Right.
Like, well, damn, can I finish the show first?
Right. Right.
But the point still, though, I mean, if I think that granting someone the freedom to come and go as they please, I think that's healthy because you don't want no prisoners.
Yeah.
Why? How emotionally fragile must I have to be in order to want somebody here who doesn't want to be here?
But what about okay, so let's talk about this because there are instances where women, I don't know if men do this because I'm not a woman. A man, I'm not a man. I am a woman. And I've done this before in my younger, dumber days, right? Where there has been the moments where I'm just like, hey, she's trying to, the breakup is kind of a shake you, do right. And you're hoping that person would come after you. So if you say, well, gone, I'll help you leave.
No, look, it wouldn't be that. Especially if she blindsided me, I'd be like, well, damn, what's that about? I'm going to at least make an effort to have a conversation with her.
Okay.
But ultimately, if she wants to be done, the point I'm making is if she's convinced that she wants to be gone, then what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I love her, but I love me more.
Right.
At the end of the day, I love my sanity more than
Right.
I love the idea of having her here against her will.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think I look, man, even when you're on the airplane and it's going down, the first thing they tell you is what? Put the mask on your wife? No.
Yourself.
Put the mask on yourself, right?
Right.
Because self-preservation is the first law of nature. You
Absolutely.
have to love yourself first in order to be able to express love in a healthy way toward anybody else.
Right.
So the best way that I can take care of my wife, and any man can take, or woman can take care of their significant other, is to first love themselves in the most holistic way possible.
They
You got
have
to
to.
promise. Diamond Queen says she loves your hair.
Oh, thank you, Diamond. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Had to do a
Yeah.
little something different. I'm trying to stay, fresh over
James,
here.
brother James says, I saw her a few years later, and she said to me, we could have worked it out, but I disagreed because the trust was broken beyond repair. So again, in her mind, he left her. He had all the closure he needed, but
Right.
she still needed closure.
She still needed closure. And that's what they talk about with the whole blindsided. Yardley says that's the problem. Men are the ones getting blindsided. Not all men, Yardley. You get a 10-point penalty.
Hey, look, not all men, just 20% of men, because 80% of the relationships are being ended by women. But go on.
Whatever. Anyway, Ayana says, for me, it means I'm done with seeking or being in a relationship with that person, although they typically stay or come back around. I just see them as a friend at that point. You know what? Just cold-hearted. No, just kidding, girl. You got this, honey. I'm out. Bye.
Yeah.
Right. She says, I do analyze a relationship during and after. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people do that. I think that what keeps them entangled in the relationship and where they're able to not able to get away from it is consistently rehearsing it, trying to see what they could have done differently.
Yeah.
And so if you keep that, well, what could I've done? And because it could be a million different things that you could have done differently. And if you keep rehearsing that, you're not going to ever be able to get over it. So I think that that's really important. What about
Hey,
so?
sometimes the one thing you could have done differently is to not be yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
What
A
about
lot of
that?
people are doing that. A lot of people are not being themselves because they're trying to please somebody else. This is the thing. If you have to go in and you're shifting your whole, I'm not talking about compromise because you should be able to compromise. There's going to be some give and some take in a relationship. But when you're forgetting who you are in a relationship, you're setting yourself up for doom down the line because that's not sustainable. It's not something that you're going to be able to consistently do. Eventually, you're going to be upset about it. You're going to become resentful. You're going to feel some kind of way about this person. And you have been the one this whole time giving yourself up to please them. That's just a no-no.
Yeah.
But I've been there, done that. That was some silly stuff when I was younger too.
And you know what, too? Go ahead. Go ahead. You can read that.
Yarley says a woman should not lead in the relationship. She should be led by her man. If she has a problem with this, she is picking the wrong man, or she shouldn't be picking. He should be picking her.
Oof. What do you think about that, Coach?
I agree. I think that she should not be leading. That's what I talk to my clients about all the time. If you're leading in your relationship, wrong. You should not be leading. And so if you are leading, that's because you don't trust him.
Mm.
And why are you in a relationship with somebody that you don't trust? But it happens all the time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not as cut and dry on the whole leading thing. I think that we each lead in different ways. So I think generally, like in my marriage, there are aspects of my marriage that I lead, but there are also aspects, like, let's say, for instance, child rearing. Like, my wife has a much better feel. Like, I might have a better idea about the direction that I want to go as far as the family and child rearing, which is leading. But as it pertains to how, connecting the dots, she's better at that aspect of it than I am. And so I think many times we find ourselves in disharmonious situations because we think that just because I'm a man that I'm supposed to lead, even though she might know more about this particular dynamic than I do.
Right.
You see, and so it's about, as much as anything, it's about acknowledging each other's strengths and shortcomings.
That's true. I agree with that. I think that we have to then determine what the leading is, because the leading doesn't necessarily mean how can I put this? It's like the relationship, the leading of the relationship should be led by the man. That's my thought. That's my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because it allows him to build that headship, that covering,
Yeah.
right? But if she is the one that's constantly in front covering everything, then that's out of order. That's just my opinion and how
Yeah.
I live, because I think of that as according to the word of God. But as far as of course you have to know each other's strengths, and that's even leading, because you don't have to lead from the front, and strategically a woman can still be strategically leading without that man ever knowing that she's leading.
See, y'all play too much. Y'all play
I,
too
I
much.
mean, that's the word says, build up your man so that he can be respectable in the field.
That's your way of saying that women are smarter. See,
Um,
that's your way of saying that women are smarter. But
Let me
here's
get to the mic and say that yes, that's true.
the, brother James says. Brother James says, I agree with you, Coach. If you don't know who you're in a relationship with, sometimes you lower your standards. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Very
And he
much.
also said right before that he was blindsided.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was blindsided and then he took off.
Is that what you're saying, Brother James?
He was blindsided by a situation, so he just decided to leave.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I'll let him respond to that.
Okay.
But
I got a touchdown.
Yeah, there is a dance between masculine and feminine energy, and
Yeah.
so there are some definite ways that men have to assert themselves, and then there are ways that women gravitate toward that assertiveness. And so, but then there are also ways, I think, that because we have some very unhealthy ideas about what it means to relate to our women, men and women in general, we have some very unhealthy ways for what it means to relate to women. And so women aren't allowed to stand in the fullness of their contribution to the relationship. And we think that, or we behave as if, well, I'm the man, I said this, I'm putting my foot down, and that's the way we're going.
Right.
And that's just, I don't know. I don't think that that's the way to get the healthiest outcome for the relationship.
And that is true.
This dance allows, like, there are ways that my wife, can I say this on air? There are ways in our relationship where my wife is just simply smarter than I am. She has a better application of certain things than I do. And so should I still say, well, damn it, I'm the leader, and so to hell with what it is that you think you know, I got this.
Right.
That's foolish.
That is foolish.
You see? And so even if you want to say I'm going to lead, I guess the smartest form of leadership would be to at least acknowledge that player A is better in this particular application than myself. So
absolutely,
I may lead from behind on that. You know what I'm saying? On that play. What do you think?
I totally agree with that, because a great leader knows when he's not the best in what he's doing. He knows how to get the best out of the people that are in a part of his tribe. That's what real leadership is. If you're trying to be a leader, but you're trying to do everything yourself, then that means you're trying to be a Hitler. You're trying to control the entire situation. And if you keep trying to do that, then you're going to be leading by yourself. But the thing is that you should be able to lead and then know when it's time to step back. That's what true leadership is. It's not about you always stand in the front. And so Mr. over here, Yarley talking about that only cowards lead from the back. No,
he said only coward.
He said only interception. No, real leadership means that you do not try to embark up everything that you're supposed to be doing. That's supposed to happen. Leadership is saying, hey, knowing what you have in your camp, knowing the power of those people, and allowing that power to go forth, even if you don't say nothing at all.
Yeah. And I think even there are terms that are being used a lot. Terms like the man leads or submission. Like we get these words that are thrown about, and I think that those words tend to take center stage more so than just the pursuit of what it means to be harmonious in the relationship.
Right.
And so I think that when you concern yourself less with what these different terms are and more with what it means to relate harmoniously, then I think that the relationship goes in a stronger direction. So I don't know. I don't typically concern myself with I'm leading. I know what we need to do. I know what needs to be done. And then and I just so happen to have a woman who's made to she aligns with what's congruent with what it is that I want to. So our ideas align and mesh very well. But if you're in a relationship with someone whose ideals don't align with yours, then it's not about, damn it, let me lead because I'm supposed to lead. Sometimes we're just in love with the wrong people.
Right.
Or we're in a relationship with the wrong people.
Now, let me be clear what leadership, according to the word, says. You lead in love. You lead in honor. You lead in respect. You lead in making sure that you're sacrificial. That's what the leading is. So if there's some things that are not happening in your relationship, who should have started it first? But what typically happens is, like, if there's problems in your relationship, the woman should not be seeking out the help. If you need help, you should be leading to go find that help. If there is some situations in the relationship where there's some financial issues, the woman should not be going to try to figure out the situation. The man should be leading into try to figure out that situation. So the leadership is not her standing behind you and you walking ahead of her and doing those. That's not what the leadership means according to the word of God. It means that whatever the situation is, you lead into it. If there's trouble, you walk into it first and find out the situation and then seek it out to see if it's safe for her to come in. That's the leadership.
So you're talking about physical.
I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physical leadership.
So you're acknowledging on record that men are emotionally stronger than women?
No.
For the record, I'd like to put my microphone in your face. For the record, are you saying that men are emotionally?
Your Honor, I disagree. Your Honor. I
just want to be clear.
No,
hold on.
I'm not saying that. No.
Brother James says, I read that part. He says, I didn't leave at once, but it continued to happen over and over. So I'm guessing she cheated. He says, I did what both of you said. I shouldn't have let my life evolve around her.
Yep. When you do that, excuse me, when you do that, you really set yourself up to, you don't have a life. And then when they're gone, what do you have left? That's why you find so many people trying to rediscover who they are. And because they have given so much to other people in that relationship, be it the relationship with the person that they're in, their children, if they get there, if they have children together, whatever that situation is, they're giving so much to that other person that they have lost themselves and they don't have anything left. And then you're trying to figure out how to fix that. It's going to be very difficult.
Yep. You got a couple more.
Yardley says that final decisions are made by men. No. We got this twisted, Yardley.
But you just said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead for the record.
Let me say this. Okay. What happens is, I think that we're going to have a conversation about what leadership really is again, because it's not about y'all sitting here having a conversation. Okay, we're going to eat Thai today. No, we're going to eat Mexican. We're going to eat, can we eat, what about chicken? Okay, no, let's have fish. You know what? I'm going to have the final say. We're having fish. That ain't what that is. No.
Are you sure?
What happens is this. Babe, we're going to have Thai today. No, I really want to have some fish. No, well, what about chicken? Well, let's have the turkey. Okay, you know what? We can't decide. We don't know what to do. Man, step up. That's what should happen.
Okay.
It ain't you put your foot down and you're going to do what I say, woman. No, now, although sometimes that might be a little sexy when you do that the right way. I'm putting my foot down. Come here, woman. Okay.
Look, James says, Brother James says, I did what both of you said. Oh no, he says, my wife sends her love, but she's making me log off because we're at the beach on vacation.
Oh,
So
hey,
sounds like
bring me back some sand.
she's leading the vacation.
She is leading, but yep, okay.
I'm not mad. Hey, salute,
I ain't
family.
mad
Y'all enjoy
either.
your
Y'all
vacation.
enjoy your vacation. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Peace.
so
Y'all be good.
he said, hold on, let me go. Okay, touchdown, Vaun. Big decisions should made by the big decisions should be made by the man with the wise counsel from his. There you go, Yarly. Now I'm back on your side. Now I'm your friend again because I wasn't your friend for like 5 minutes. Then he gonna give me another penalty. I'm getting all these penalties. I'm just in trouble because he gonna say you didn't read my previous comment before you read my last one, so I had to go back and fix it. See, I fixed it.
Man, we love you too, Brother James. James sends his love. He and his wife send their love. So love you too, family. Y'all enjoy your vacation.
We love you too. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So listen, this ain't nobody listen. Let's talk about this. These are things that need to happen if you want to really get over. There is, any type of trauma that you've been through, you have to go through a healing process, and it's pretty much the same. You get out of the denial, you stop being angry, you get to this place where you're bargaining, trying to figure out, is something wrong? Was it me? There's a depression, and then there's this final acceptance. Once you go through those things, they don't necessarily happen in those particular order, but that acceptance should actually be at the end, where you finally accepted that this is what it is. Let me let this go and let me move forward. When you get to that place, then you can start to heal, because that's not where the healing starts. The healing starts after the acceptance of it and saying, okay, I'm finally accept the fact that we're not going to be together. Let me move on and try to get myself together. And you may need some help to get yourself together. Don't negate that.
What is that? Somebody help me out in the comment section if you don't know this one, Coach. There are stages like fear, denial, rejection, acceptance. What is that?
It's called the 5 stages of healing. It's not healing. It's something else. 5 stages of but that's what I just read. I can't think of the name of it. But 5 steps to healing. I mean, you have to. Those are things that happen that you going through those processes, and people don't recognize. And when you start to really know who you are and start to pay attention to yourself, you'll start to know which stage you are in, because based off of how you're responding or reacting to the situation.
Yeah. One thing too, I think that we have to start prioritizing mental health and emotional health, emotional well-being. And again, I go back to the idea that I think Black people in this country, Black Americans, we suffer disproportionate amounts of emotional instability.
Yeah.
Mental. We are the least healthy emotionally when it comes to emotional health, emotional well-being, and for the longest we see things like therapy or going to a psychologist, we see that as a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And that has really cost us, because we're suffering disproportionately. So I think operating from a space of being healthy emotionally and being healthy mentally, it allows us to deal with relationships in a more healthy way, entering relationships as well as exiting relationships. Yeah. Here's one. You'll find that in most relationships, there's a people have a hard time letting the other person know that I love you. Mm-hmm. So typically it's the person who, I don't know. Let me rephrase that part, because I don't know that who says I love you first in most cases. Is it men or is it women? I know that in my relationship, I mean, I was only 16. My wife was 17. And even though I had those strong feelings about her, there's this thing playing in the back of my mind, all this rap music and all this culture that says you don't tell no woman that you love her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so she was courageous enough to say, I love you. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, part of me is, you know, my chest is, you know, sticking out. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You should love me. You know?
Right. Right.
But that's not, you know, again, that's ego. What is
Yeah.
ego? Edging
Yeah.
God out, right? So there are a lot of men in this society who have a very hard time telling women that they love them.
Very true.
Now, is that leadership on the woman's part, letting the man know that, hey, I'm ready to take this relationship to the next level?
I mean, I don't know. The Bible clearly tells the man to love his wife as Christ loved the church, because God understood that pride, that ego was going to keep him from saying it or doing it. And so
Mm,
he had to give him directives to do it. But he also knew that it was going to take that woman to come down off her boss chick self and be respectful. So he said, wives, respect your husbands. And I want to be very clear, because the word husband and the word wife in Greek means man and woman. So I don't want people to think, well, I'm in a relationship, I'm not married to him, I don't have to, or married to her, or married to him, I don't have to love her, I don't have to respect it. It just means respect the man and the woman that you're intimately involved in. That's what it really means. But it, of course, we understand that, God loves marriage. So, but that's a given. And Yarley says that the 5 stages of grief, that's what it is.
there we go. That's what I was looking for.
I
Yeah.
remember.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
But now, how many men are actually, think about what you just said now. Love your woman or love your wife as Christ loved the church. How many men are actually able to love their wives in the capacity that Christ loved the church with? Do you understand how heavy that is?
Mhm. It means you
Like,
got to sacrifice. You got to die to yourself first. And so that kind of, so to some people that might look like a contradiction. You just told me to love myself, and I have to die to myself. Well, you have to die to your ideals of being a single man. You have to die to the ideals of being this person that you're just doing it because you want to do it and don't have to consult or be in leadership mode to say, now let me get with my team and see what's the best thing to do. That those are things you have to die to. You have to be sacrificial. You have to be willing to put yourself in the situation first before you bring your woman along. And so that has to mean that you are so loving of yourself that you know yourself well enough to know what you are capable of doing and what you're not capable of doing. Because you're not going to put yourself in a situation that you got to sacrifice yourself, that you don't know that you're going to win in the end anyway.
mm, mm, that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
So Yarley says love equals providing, provisioning, and protection. You're right. And the thing is that, like I tell my clients, one of the things I go through with my clients, especially when I'm doing a couple situation, I ask them that, do you know what that means? Do you know what really respecting? Do you know what really loving sacrificially means? Because that's what you're really doing. If you don't know what that means, it's kind of impossible for you to go in with that mindset. You're not going to have that mindset.
And I think that this whole notion of loving, like for a man, is really people people confuse love with how I feel about you,
Right.
right? But if I tell my wife I love her, it's really an expression of what I'm willing to do for her,
Right.
not so much just limited to how I feel about her. So it really should be more in line with I'm ready to love you because these are the things that I'm willing to sacrifice for you, or what I'm willing to do for you, or how far I'm willing to go for you. I'm willing to subdue my fleshly desires in a sense, right? Because the world is calling at me and pulling at me to do different things. Should I go to the shake 'em up? You know what I mean? The strip club.
Right.
You
Right.
know, how many women do I need in my life? Do I really need that car with 22s on it? Or does my family, does my wife need to, you know what I mean? Does she need to eat more so than I need these 22s? Like,
Right.
what am I willing? What sacrifices am I willing to make to make for you? Because to me, that's where the love is expressed more so than I just have these strong feelings for you, but I'm not really willing to make sacrifices. Because you can have strong feelings for someone, but still be so caught up in your own selfishness that you're not willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary to make them feel secure, make that woman feel secure enough and protected enough and cared for enough. I think that's what a large part of what how Christ loved the church means. What do you think about it?
Absolutely. I agree. And that will take it right back to what you even said earlier about how you will be willing to let go. Because if you love her enough and you've decided to love her enough that you're willing to say, you know what, I've decided to love you and I can decide to let you go. It's really that simple. But most people don't put things into that simplicity because we like drama. We
Mm,
want the dramatic of it. We want the big of it. It has to be big instead of
yeah.
it just being this just simple decision. Simply decide what you're going to do and just do it. And that goes for the breakup, which is what we're talking about. Why is it so difficult for people to break up and let it go? And it's because you haven't made a decision. You just have not decided to do so. When you make the decision and you tell your mind that you're going to be committed to that decision, then that's when you will do what you need to do, whether that's staying together or whether that's breaking up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shalon says, or first before that, Yardley says, love equals providing provisions and protection. I want to come back to that too. Shalon says, okay, everything I was going to say has been deleted. Coach Michelle just said it all. Yardley says, men and women love differently, and we must acknowledge the beautiful differences of both. I agree with all of that.
I do too.
Here's a question that I have about that. Love equals providing, provisioning, and protection. Do women also provide provision and offer protection?
They should, just in a different way.
Say more, please.
They should be providing nurturing. They should be provisioning the offerings of their gifts, and then they should be protecting their relationship and their man.
Yeah.
And it's not in the same sense. You're not protecting with your brawn or your body per se. You're protecting and provisioning of children, like Yarley says, and you're protecting you're protecting his character. You're protecting his integrity. And a lot of times, especially in the breakup, that goes way out the window. Nobody's trying to protect anything and anybody in that particular situation. But while you're in that relationship, if that person feels protected, feels like you have their back, you're supporting them, those are the types of things that a woman should be protecting. I'm not reading that. We're not messing with you, Yardley, today.
Yarley is a nut.
He is a mess.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree completely. And this is why I wrestle with these different terms that are being thrown about, because let's just take the word submission. Like the only way we hear of submission really is that wives should submit to their husbands. But if you're going to love your wife as Christ loved the church, I mean, I don't know that there's a higher form of submission than that.
It's not, but then they forget the scripture that says, submit yourselves one to another. That's
Right.
what the word says.
Yeah.
Husbands and wives, submit yourselves one to another. But people are not always doing that, because we think of this word submission as this ugly word. Oh my God, you got to be walked up the front of and down the back. That's not what submission means. Submission means that you're willing to give of yourself wholly to that other person. That's really all. It's just that simple. We make these words, these again, these huge dramatic things when it's really so simple. Love is simple. Relationships can be simple. It's the people that make them challenging and difficult.
The first time I saw any expression of submission was with Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, the WWF, submission. You make them tap out. And so many of us get introduced to these ideas of submission in the carnal sense, in the fleshly sense, in the worldly sense. Submit means to stand under or succumb to, give in to.
Yeah.
But we don't look at it in a healthy or reciprocal kind of way, where we're submitting to one another, like you said, as the Bible says. So, and I know that everybody's not a Christian. We all have these different ideas about what it means, but I think for the most part, when we're talking to our people, the overwhelming majority of us are introduced to marriage or the concept of family under the umbrella of Christianity.
Right.
right? And so it's in that context that I'm addressing what the word submission means, like what you said, submitting yourselves one to another.
Mhm.
But the old school wedding vows used to say to the wife, honor and obey, but it didn't say anything to the man about honor and obey. It just, so we get introduced to marriage in the context of the wife obeying the husband.
And those vows are not in the Bible.
No, they're not.
They're not. So they are not a part of the word of God. And people don't understand that. I don't know where those vows came from. Some meeting that the men was having in the back.
Well, look, I mean, in this country, I think it still might be legal in South Carolina to whoop your wife on the steps of the courthouse on Sundays or something like that.
What?
Like, yeah, you can beat your wife within reason on the church steps or courthouse steps. I know I'm getting it a little bit confused as far as how the actual verbiage works, but it was legal and thought of as right and good to beat your wife if she deserved it on the courthouse steps or on a
Well,
given
who
day.
was beating him when he deserved it?
Never mind all that. Men are always right.
No, y'all are not.
You see? But these are the same rules that say honor and obey your husband.
That's that same book that's not in the Bible.
Yeah. But this is the society that we get our values as it pertains to marriage.
Yeah, like your wife said, is there a such thing as beating within reason? You're right.
Exactly.
Like, what kind of stuff is that? Some ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Shalon says, if you're able to be done just like that, and we're gonna go back to the title, done just like that and not look back. Do you think that person was not vulnerable from start? Doesn't relationships require vulnerability? Yeah, they do. But again, I think that many times we have to keep in mind, when did that person start thinking about leaving? They don't typically, you don't say I'm leaving and leave the same day. You say I'm leaving, you work it out how you going to leave, and then you leave. The other person just never was aware. They didn't go ding ding ding, hey, she's leaving, he's leaving. That doesn't happen. So then that other person is blindsided, as James said earlier, blindsided, and then they're trying to figure out, well, when were you going to tell me? Well, I should have told you 6 months ago when I thought about it, when I was working this plan out, but I didn't. Why? Because they fear that the other person might do it first. I think that's what a lot of it is. The reason why people do not say I want to leave when they just made up their mind in their mind before they worked out the process is that they might be out there on their own.
This is why I enjoyed, one of the biggest reasons I enjoy doing this show with you, because I think that we bring a level of balance to the idea of what it means to relate that is really missing from our culture. So, for instance, Phoenix Shackleford, hey sis, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Just remember back when Al Green's wife threw those grits on him.
No.
Yeah, so back in the day, Al Green, one of the things that Al Green became famous for was this hot grits incident. His wife threw hot grits on him.
Okay.
And I don't know if he had been cheating on her or whatever. But since then, we've had all kinds of incidents. Lorena Bobbitt cut her husband's penis off.
Right.
I know a brother and a sister who the woman threw hot boiling water on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we have these expressions of rage where women are exacting these ideas of revenge on her man, right? And society isn't nearly as outraged as they would be if it was the other way around, right? Imagine if Al Green had said, you know what, I'm gonna put these hot grits on you. Do you understand how much heat that man would have caught if he had thrown hot grits or hot boiling water on his woman? So what I'm saying is that this society has created, this planet really has created such an imbalance in what it means for men and women to relate. And so certain things have been deemed acceptable,
right,
where there is no acceptable level of violence from a righteous perspective of any kind. No man should be harming women in any way whatsoever, and no woman should be harming her man in any way whatsoever. But we don't do that. We
We
say,
don't.
yeah, we say things like a man can beat his wife on the courthouse steps, or go ahead and get him, girl. If he must have deserved it if she threw hot grits on him. You
Yeah.
see, and until we get to a place where we can express an equal level of outrage for what men do to women and for what women do to men, we're gonna always suffer this dynamic that I call the pendulum effect, where
Yeah.
it's extremes happening this way,
Mhm.
and then it comes, but there is never a level. There's always going to be a responding knee-jerk extreme on this side.
Right.
See? And nobody's looking for that middle about what it means to be harmonious. It's always some payback for the last 100 years. This is what y'all been doing. So now we got to even it out by going over here. So again, I think this is why we're going to always suffer unless we get to that point of operating. We're going to always have these problems. Go ahead.
I believe so. I think I totally agree with you. Because I think that that's when we go to but women are the weaker vessel kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and that's why I'm a strong believer in you either going to stick with that or you're not. Don't try to be the weaker vessel but you want to lead the relationship. If you want him to lead, then be the weaker vessel. It doesn't mean that you're weak-minded. It doesn't mean that it just means that your body frame was not designed to do certain things. However, his body frame wasn't designed to carry a baby and push it out either. So it's a lot of different things that we have to really take into account as to what that really means. What does a weaker vessel mean? And I think that it just really means about the brawn of it. She wasn't designed to put this you go till the land and get everything that you need kind of thing. But she was strong enough to be able to get through the wiles of the enemy, because that enmity that's between her and him is going to be there. So you really have to just really know exactly what you're coming into and have a real sound effect of that, what that looks like.
I think that really the only place that men are that weaker vessel idea. I think that the only place that women are categorically weaker than men is when it comes to physical brawn. But I think that women are given an innate sense of balancing that out.
Right. Through the wisdom.
Maybe through wisdom, maybe through intuition. I don't know. What do you think the counter to that is? Because I don't think that women are, I don't know. I have a challenge with that whole women are the weaker vessel thing, because I think that it requires an inordinate amount of strength to not only carry life for 9 months, but to bring life forth. Like that requires a level of strength that men just don't have.
And some of the emotional strength that women have to go through, when men will shut down if they had to go through some of the things that women go through. Yeah. And let me tell you why. Because here's the thing. Okay. Women have the ability to be able to, we talk about how we're more emotional, right? We're not more emotional. Men just hold theirs and they put it out differently. Yep. But like a woman will take a man cheating over and over again. Most men ain't gonna accept that woman cheating the first time. He done. That emotional thing he won't be able to hold on to that. But that woman, she can push that back. She can be abused and still be loving on somebody. He done. So it's certain things I think that she's able to be stronger in her mental, her spiritual sense than men are. I'm not saying that all men, I'm just saying that some men. And it's not that all women are more stronger than that. It's just, I think, again, it depends, like you said earlier, on a human thing and who that person is and what they've been able to endure. Because even when I talk about some of the things I've been through, people are like, how? Like all of that? Yeah, all of that. I say if a woman could have been through it, I've been through it, except for endometriosis. I always laugh and say that because I didn't have that. But anything else a woman been through, I've probably been through it. But when I tell people, especially men, that they go, How? You know, so that's what I'm talking about. Kind of like that whole, it's a thing. It's a
Yeah. I think that hold on, let's read some of these comments before I go into what I think.
people fear the consequences of their wrong choices in their lives. That's what we were talking about earlier about how they won't tell somebody that they want to leave right then and then leave. Let's see.
Up top, where let's see, Yardley says, yeah, people fear the consequences. Yardley says, I remember. Phoenix says, right. Yes, period. Shalon says, the Medea character, always ready for jail. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Desi says, Al Green would have died though after that. What did he do to her once she threw them on him? Talking about the grits.
Right.
I don't imagine he did much of anything if she well, hell, she should have been smart enough to get the hell out of there.
Right.
You know, Phoenix says there are so many double standards in relationships.
There is.
Feminine energy. Yardley says men will suffer much greater consequences for tactile influencing a woman. A woman during the same offense will be heralded as a hero, standing up against the patriarchy. The courts are gynocentrically slanted towards women.
I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's totally agree.
Phoenix says, okay, I think I might have a point there. Our tolerance is different, and our capacity.
Yeah, very much so. We tolerate more than men tolerate, and that's a very good way of putting that, Phoenix. And
You know, I don't know,
how
man.
many men do you know? How many of your male friends would accept their woman cheating on them multiple times? I mean, not talking about just talking to somebody, having physical intimacy with another man.
Listen,
that's gonna mess with his psyche.
It messes with everybody's psyche. I think I know men who have dealt with it and begged their wives to please don't do it again and we can work through it. I've had men cry to me. Listen to me good now. I'm talking about damn near snot bubbles, like crying like a toddler because they thought they were going to lose their woman to another man. Right. So this idea that somehow women are more forgiving and men are not, again, man, it is not gender focused. It is a
Human thing.
Yeah, because I think it depends on each individual's level of resolve. But here's where women being more accepting of this thing comes from. I think for centuries there has been this infrastructure where women have not been able to provide for themselves.
Okay.
And so they didn't really have an out. And so they would tolerate men having children on the side, having other women on the side, because she really didn't have an alternative for how she was going to live and provide for herself. There was no infrastructure for her to go and get a job and sustain herself. Well, nowadays, women are much better able to do that because hell, women can make just as much money, if not more money, than men. So you will find now.
No, we're not making more money than y'all.
And I'm saying in many instances, women are, let me just say it this way, women are much better able to provide for themselves.
For themselves, yes.
And so now you'll find that women are much less tolerant of the abuses that their grandmothers had to endure.
Absolutely. I agree.
So it's not that women are generally more compassionate to being abused or cheated on. It's just that they didn't have an out. This is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for the majority of women, but I think that many times we still take it because I mean, I've heard of those type of men that are like, okay, I'll accept it this once, but the majority of the men that I hear talk about it, just to even know that man was touching a woman is going but the woman is able to kind of skirt that out of her head. Yeah, it's going to hurt her. She's going to be haunted by it, but she deals with it a little bit differently than men do.
And I think, again, I don't think that's
I don't think it's right.
I don't think that's biological. I think it's societal conditioning.
Okay.
So. Because if let a woman show up here talking about I got a 2-year-old child, I think it's going to be hard for my woman. I don't even think she's going to try to fight through that one. I don't know. She might.
But more women than not, because we just had this conversation last week about how men don't want to take care of somebody else's baby. Just
Yeah.
imagine if she had that baby on him, and she found out, once he found out that, oh, the baby we've been caring for all this time ain't mine, he out of there.
Not look, I'm telling you, that is case by case. Do you know how many families grow up with a child that don't belong to the husband because the woman stepped out? Like, cheating is not an uncommon thing. Women cheating on their husband, that's not uncommon.
No, I'm not saying, no, it's not, because we actually cheat more.
Yeah. So at least I'll even go so far as to say at least as much, right? Women at least cheat as much. And all of these women are not being left just because they cheated. There are a lot of brothers out here who are under the "as long as you don't do it again" act.
Yeah, I want to see, because I don't know too many.
Man, look, don't sleep. Go ahead, Phoenix.
Phoenix says, we can't forget about the ratio. I hear women outnumber men 20-1. We tolerate more because he can move around. Absolutely. It's more.
Look,
so we're at, that is very true. A lot of women are tolerating things because they feel like, well, shoot, I don't want her to have them.
Well, I think we are coming back around to this place where the value of men is being seen differently. So you will find that, just like the physical protection part of it, the government has really stepped in and made an effort to make the man irrelevant outside of the physical comfort that he might offer. But
Right.
women don't fear for their safety the way you used to. Like, ain't no bears, ain't no lions, tigers, and bears coming. Women are taking Tybo, women can own a gun, and women can call the cops.
Yep.
So you don't need men. In many instances, you don't see men as being as necessary as we did 100 years ago. Right.
Right.
But this COVID thing has shown, women don't want to have to go out and fend for themselves in the height of, very trying times.
Right.
So if people are out there fighting at the grocery store, man, a woman would love to have a man to go out there and go get it so that she can stay in the safety of her home. And the chances of him making it back from that without being hurt or harmed in some kind of way are much greater than her having to do that.
Yeah.
So, there are different dynamics at play, but I think for the most part, man, I don't think we're as different as society tends to portray. I think that ideas are being pushed to make us seem like we're more different than we really are.
I think that the major difference between how we respond is the mental aspect of things as to how we respond. Not that we don't respond the same. It's
Right.
just how we portray the response or the reaction is the only real difference that we really have. And a lot of times we don't know that because we don't know ourselves enough to know that, oh, that's the same thing. He's emotional, but he's angry. That we just look at it as being angry. Because we look at emotions as in, I'm crying, but if I'm crying, you better know. If I'm crying in certain, I will cry before I raw if I'm angry, because I'm letting you know you better back up.
And that's only situation. And I think that's largely because it has been promoted as socially unacceptable for men to cry.
Absolutely.
It's not that men don't want to cry or wouldn't cry or wouldn't rather not punch a hole in the wall. Right. There are a lot of men who would rather just cry through their frustration and anger and all that, rather than to hold that in such an unhealthy way. But society says you're a punk. Yeah. Other men says other men say you're weak because you're crying. Yeah. So again, these are social pressures. These are not biological realities. Yeah. And when you going back to what our topic is with the breakup, this is why a lot of people have these unrealistic expectations of why. How can I put this? Unrealistic ideas, which keeps them holding on for such a long time. And I think that that's one of the major things that these unrealistic ideas of relationships is keeping them holding on.
So
Unrealistic ideas. It
yeah.
is forever an unrealistic idea. Is till death do us part an unrealistic idea?
I don't think it is. For many people, it is though. So many people feel like, how can I be with somebody, one person for the rest of my life? I think that that's how it was designed to do so. If you do things, but see, the problem is that you're trying to do things in the middle of the play. You're in the middle instead of doing it in the beginning. So then what's happening is now that you're in the middle of life, now you're saying, well, now I want to do it till death do us part. Well, now you got all this baggage that you got to get through. So it's gonna, if you haven't gotten over, it's gonna hinder you from getting through that part. But if you
Mm,
started out in the beginning, husband, a man finds a wife, they get married, they have their children, they rear those children together, they go through go through life together till death do you part. Then you got that. But you got a woman who got kids or a man who got kids. Now they got to get through all this stuff with the baby mama, baby daddy drama, all that stuff. Now you dealing with all that stuff in between there to get to death do you part. That's why
yeah.
people can't see that. But I
Mhm.
personally think that you should be with that person till death do you part. Things happen though. We understand that. And people make decisions that they make decisions. Simple as that.
Here's another thing that I try to promote. Well, I don't try to. I do promote the idea that the younger you get together, the better. Like I,
Absolutely.
because look, right now women are getting that bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so women can go to school and they can get their bachelor's, master's, PhD,
Mm-hmm.
right? And put off having children until whenever they're ready. And so now you find women that are 30, 35 saying, okay, now I'm ready to settle down and have a family, ready to have children. The problem is you've just leveraged your most appealing assets
Out.
out in favor of getting that bag,
Yeah.
right? And so now this is why they're doing these specials on 60 Minutes in 2020 of women who are 35 and 40 years old who can't find a man on their level.
Yep.
But that's because men who are on your level, so to speak, they ain't checking for you.
Mm-mm.
They looking for women who are 25. You know what I mean? Who are less hardened by the reality of the grind, right? Because we don't really want that. Your money don't really matter to
Yep.
a man who's really on his square. A man who's confident, intelligent, and assertive, he ain't really concerned about how much money you making. He's concerned about how cooperative are you, how feminine, beautiful, and intelligent are you. But you just mortgaged all of that in favor of that bag.
Yep.
So this is why you can't find a man who's quote unquote on your level. Now here's the flip side. Men are being encouraged to get yourself together, find your purpose, and you get that bag first, and then you get a woman,
Yep.
right? So then oftentimes by the time we're in our six-figure earning stage, we're 40 years old or more.
Yeah.
And then we're concerned about a woman who loves us for us.
Yep.
How you gonna find you just pulled up in the CL 600 or whatever, and you think a woman is coming to you just because you are a nice guy or a great guy? No, she sees comfort. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
she's often with you for what she thinks you can provide, more so than because of who you are. You see? And so what the society has conditioned us to do is forego these early connections that we have when we're in our mid to late teens. Like we find people who the sparks really fly and we could otherwise have a very harmonious relationship with, but we're encouraged to that's just puppy love. So we're gonna put
Right.
that to the side
Right.
because we got bigger and better things,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And then
Right.
when we're 35, you know what I'm saying? Now we're trying to recapture those sparks. But hell, the average person who's 35, 40 years old, they got so much emotional baggage, so
Mhm.
much scarring from these previous failed relationships in the pursuit of that bag
Right.
that it's damn near impossible to find harmony in a relationship with most of these people. What do you
Right.
think?
Right. I agree. Which is why it's hard for them to let go when that breakup does happen. Because they feel like I'm a catch. Like what's wrong with me? I mean, and they start to reevaluate their whole being because of the whole thing. So I really think that we need to. I mean, other cultures are encouraged. Your high school sweetheart. You date early. We tell our kids, no, you ain't dating at 16. They taking their kids at 13 years old on dates. They just take them there and they pick them up. We saying you better not be dating, and that's out of the fear that our kids are going to go have kids instead of them just having a date, right?
Because biologically they're ready for adulthood, but societally,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
so much.
not so much. So it's crazy. Yarley says touchdown, Vaun. And
Sir, I got a bunch of points
got a
today.
whole
Good. Thank
touchdown. She is now following your leadership right into the CL
you.
600.
Yeah.
Real talk, and men of a certain age date younger. I'm witnessing grown men commit to younger women and honor them. Yep, absolutely.
But
Because
those younger women, ideally, they don't. A 25-year-old woman ideally does not want to be with a 50-year-old man,
he
but
doesn't.
she
But
will compromise because of the level of comfort he's able to provide to her life. But you better believe she looking at that dude with the six-pack abs, you know what I mean? Who's, you know what I mean? He got the skinny jeans on, and
the thing is that she's more cooperative with him. She's more appreciative of what he has to offer because she don't have it. So she's looking at him going, "Wow, you bought that for me? Oh my God, you got that for me?" She's not feeling like you should. So when he gets that woman who got her own and she driving a 6L 600 her own self, or she got her own house, or she had her own bank account, she got her own bag or her own coins. Then when he goes and buys her some trinket, she looking at him like, "What's that? Can
yeah,
you
I can get
come?
that myself.
What a fur at, bruh?
Yeah.
What a mortgage at, bruh?" You know, those are things she's looking at. But when that man goes and takes her to a Florida trip, she's like, "Oh, girl, my man just took me to Florida, honey. We was balling out, you know." And so
Yep.
she's more appreciative of the things that he's doing wherever his level is. That other woman, he's trying to fight for that. And that's why he's going. I don't think that even my thought, well, let me take that back. Maybe he do want a younger woman, but my thought would be, would he want someone that's compatible to him emotionally and mentally? If she were more cooperative and really was like, "Oh my God, he bought me that." I mean, like, and really, he would like that.
Look, I think that just the way this society is going, that we're being conditioned out of what it means to relate harmoniously to the opposite sex.
Hmm.
So
On
this,
purpose.
yeah, on purpose, yeah,
Yeah.
because there is no the odds of a 50-year-old man relating harmoniously to a 25-year-old woman are a lot smaller than for them to grow in their love or on their path toward what it means to be successful. Them getting that bag together, whatever getting that bag means, however they work that out between them. But you're creating a lopsidedness when you, as a 50-year-old man, says, okay, now I got everything I need. Now all I need is a woman. And then you're going to get a woman who's half your age, or, you know, it's just, I
And
don't
so
know. I
it's
mean,
easier for that man to walk away from the situation because he can find that somewhere else. But that woman is still saying, "Well, wait a minute. How can I, I'm not gonna be able to find this somewhere else." So she's looking at it like the only one or the one. And we walk in, typically women walk into relationship, be it the man is younger or older. She's walking in looking at how his potential is as a husband. The man is walking into the situation to say, "How can I hit this?"
mm, mm.
And
Yarley said,
then after he hit it, or if he still can't hit it, he's trying to figure out, okay, well, now she's challenging me. Okay, now I mean look at her a little bit differently. Is she wife potential? But that happens all the way in there. When woman walks in, she walked in. Is this my husband? What is that him?
yeah.
You know, and see
But
that's the difference. You
in
say,
this
yeah,
society, well, you got even before Yarley, Phoenix says, real talk, men of certain age date younger
yeah, we
women.
talked about that one already.
And then Yarley says, yes, she does. He has a six-figure income, the tailored suits. Women cannot go back in lifestyle. Men cannot go back sexually. A younger woman is a tighter, righter version of the women his age. And Phoenix says, I wonder where his maturation is. but again, man, I think that the ideals. I mean, just think about yourself at 50 years old and the generation, the way we rationalize at 50 versus the way we rationalize at 25. Our thought process is nowhere near the same.
No.
And the average woman, even if you want to say that, I don't necessarily agree with this, but even if you want to say that the average woman is more mature than the average man, right? And so you take a 25-year-old woman and she's not going to be leaps and bounds 10, 15 years more mature than the average 25-year-old man. She might be a couple years more serious, depending on, what path her life is on. But typically, I don't think that, I don't know, you tell me, at 25, did you envision yourself fantasizing over a man twice your age, or would you have rather a man who was closer to your age having himself together?
Listen, I don't fantasize about a man twice my age at 50. Okay. I don't like my guy is 6 years older than me. And if he didn't look young, he probably wouldn't have got no play.
Yeah.
But I mean, I typically have dated men or been with men younger than me. So, but I've never found them to be immature in that sense either. So I wouldn't agree that women are far more in advance than I think that we're far more in advance as into what we want in our lives. Men are typically, again, we're walking in the door. We've been playing with babies. We've been playing with baby dolls. We've been playing with houses. We've been taught since we were little babies how to have a house, how to have a marriage, how to get you put the pillowcase on your head and you pretend to get married, and you dragging your little friend, male friend, or little male cousin, or the boy down the street. He don't want to play that game. You like making him do it. Come on over here, you my husband. He like, no, I'm not.
Right.
So that's been happening the whole time, and we've been doing that. But boys have been taught how to go out and get the bag, how to conquer the world. Those are the things he's seeking out. And after he's conquered the world, now he's sitting here going, how can I bring somebody along in our community? But in more other communities, they know better. They know, hey, you know what? We need to do this together. It's better off with both of us than it is by ourselves. We can do more together than we can do apart. And a lot of times that's not what happened.
Give me a second. Can you give me a second for a minute? You keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay. So we can hear you though. I'm gonna mute you because I don't know if you want things to be heard. Okay, so yeah, so let's talk about some of this. So Phoenix, she says she likes our older guys. I just never been able to get into the whole older men thing before, but not 50. How old are you, Phoenix? Back then I'm saying they bought, back then they did. They brought us brooms and mops for Christmas and told us to go and clean up. And the men they doing a totally different situation. And so we have to keep that into mind. But Yarley says men who date younger women typically look younger in society. Yep, that's true. Yeah, 47. Yeah. You look good, girl, 47 over there. Yeah, so I mean, I'm over here feeling like I hope he's okay. I hope everything is good over there. But yes, we thank you all. Make sure that you are liking our page. If you've been watching us this long, make sure that you are sharing this. Do a watch party and share it on your page so that more people can see what we're doing over here at the His and Her Perspective. You good? You good, bro?
I'm solid.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Well, look, thank you so much, Phoenix. I appreciate it, girl. I'm trying to keep this 50 up, honey.
She look all right.
I done worked out 5 days this week. I done worked out 5. I got to get that summer body because we about to be out of COVID. You know, they opening up. That's what I should have put on the news. You know, they opened up. They took 11 states have taken the mandate off for the mask, right?
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to. I wasn't married wearing mine anyway. I'm sorry.
Nope.
So unless I was made to. Now I wasn't going in breaking the law, but if I wasn't made to, I wasn't in it.
Yep. I'll be the only one in the grocery store sometime without a mask on. I ain't playing them games.
People be looking at you like this, don't they?
Yep. But if I cough, they'll probably gang tackle my ass.
Thank you so much, Shalon. Thank you so much. So listen, we have been on here for an hour and 40 minutes. We have taken up a lot of y'all's time, and we so appreciate you for being here with us this time. If you, again, make sure that you're sharing, subscribing, and saying something, go over to our YouTube page at the His and Her Perspective Show and subscribe over there. Hit that red bell so that you'll get notification of any of the videos that we upload. If there's something that you want us to talk about, you can either inbox us, you can email us at harmony@hisandherperspective.com. You can also give us a call at 304-60-ASK-US. That's 304-60-ASK-US. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate us. You want to go ahead, appreciate you all. You want to go ahead and close us out, brother?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think you nailed it. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. And for that, we are eternally thankful. Love y'all, fam.
We love y'all. Bye.